He comes to you and is like, hey, I really like getting pegged. I want you to peg me. And you're like, ew, that's so disgusting. Like, I would never do that. You want me to eat your ass?
Hi everyone, welcome back to Daily Freddo. If you are on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, any social media platform, then I'm sure you've seen snippets of whatever podcast. The clips of this show are usually going viral because the guests discuss dating, marriage, LGBTQ issues, feminism, sex work, and everything else that's controversial in today's society. So the women who are invited to the show often are OnlyFans content creators, sex workers, super liberal people, and honestly, sometimes when you listen to those conversations taking place on the podcast, you can feel your brain cells slowly popping. And then Candace Owens appeared to humble and outclass every woman sitting on the table with her. So let's watch some of the best moments of the podcast together. One of the first topics was viral video of a single 29-year-old woman who talked about how she spends her day and what she gets to enjoy by not having kids. Take a look.
I'm 29 and single and I don't have kids yet. Here's what your Saturday morning looks like when you're single at 29 and you don't have a kid running around the house. I didn't rise from my bed until 10:15. I should probably get up and do something. I thought, why? Nobody's making me. I'm not missing out on anything. I went to Beyonce last night and I didn't get home until 1 a.m. and I danced and drank my little heart out, and I didn't pay a babysitter to watch my kids as I did that. And I woke up a tad hungover this morning, which is probably why I was in bed for so long. And I was just scrolling on my phone and I saw a picture of shakshuka and I thought, you know what sounds really good? Maybe I'm gonna learn how to make shakshuka today. Because I have no plans and I don't have kids and I don't have a husband and I don't have errands to run. I can go to the grocery store and learn how to make shakshuka. So that's on my agenda today. Also on my agenda, probably a rewatch of some Real Housewives of New York. I'm also doing a rewatch of Normal People on Hulu, which is really spicy and I highly recommend. Weirdly, I'm into this documentary on Netflix about blue zone countries, so I've got a pretty stacked day. Anyway, I say all this to say, whenever I'm hard on myself about why I'm not married and I don't have kids and I should be further along at 29, almost 30, I wouldn't want to do anything else this Saturday. And I know that you can do all these things when you have kids and you're married, and I understand, but the effortlessness and ease of my life, just kind of focusing on myself and the shakshuka I want to make or the Beyonce concert I want to go to, really pays off when I'm hard on myself for not being where society tells me I should be in life.
First of all, I find these types of videos very weird. Everything is content these days, and using the internet to justify where you are in life, or maybe not to justify, but to make yourself feel better about it, is just so weird to me. That means you don't feel good about it. You are trying to find some sort of support from strangers on the internet saying, yes girl, it's normal, I'm the same. This is what will make you feel better. Guess what? People need responsibilities and purpose. We are wired this way. We can only grow and feel fulfilled when we accomplish things. It doesn't have to be kids, marriage, or so on. Here are the responses on the panel.
I mean, it went crazy viral because Matt Walsh tweeted it. Let's be real. That would have just gone into the ethosphere on TikTok and no one would have talked about it had he not picked that up and tweeted it.
Well, was Matt, I don't know if Matt Walsh was the first
he
person.
Was.
Oh, was
Yeah.
he really? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What's interesting to me is that this woman has actually even said, you know, she gives herself a hard time. She wants to be married. She wants to have children. So I don't think that it's right to demonize her and act like she's going to have a depressing life when she just hasn't found the right person, because clearly she wants those things and she's trying to make herself feel better and other people in that community feel better about not being that far along. Because like you said, you wanted people to settle down with the right person, take their time, figure out if that's the right person. So just because she's 29, you're saying that it's like too late for her and she's going to be doing Xanax and drinking wine at night because she hasn't reached that point yet?
I didn't say that. That's not what my tweet said. That's not what my
You
tweet
said the future.
Yeah,
Right.
because she's obviously a narcissist.
Well, there you go. Here is Candace Owens with the truth for you, proving once again that it's not about always feeling sorry for everyone or sympathizing with everything. Let's continue.
Let's not pretend this is one video that she made. It's her brand on TikTok. It's her brand on social media. She talks about these are this community known as dinks. We're happy and we're childless. She talks about how great it is to be childless. So she has developed she's a social media influencer that talks about childlessness. So let's not pretend this is one woman making a video who just said, oh, I had a great Saturday. There's absolutely no reason, if you had a great Saturday at 29 years old and you learned to make shakshuka and you slept in at 11 until 11:15 or 10:15, whatever she said, that you need to bring up children. There's absolutely no reason. You just say, here's what I did today. I laid in all day. I did this, I did that. The fact that she has to correlate it to saying, and this somehow makes me better than people that have children, is the problem. She literally goes on to talk about not having children. It wasn't necessary in this video. So it's not like people are just shaming single women on the internet. You could go on right now and talk about what you've done all day, and there's no reason to bring up, but having a child or not. She's actually doing the shaming, and now we're trying to pretend that she's the victim. She's not. She has a brand.
See, the girl there is defending the woman in the video. I think she's around 22 years old. This generation is so reliant on the internet. They don't see someone at almost 30 years old making videos like that as weird. They find it relatable and perfectly okay because they didn't live in the times when this wasn't normal. The person in the video must be in a super low mental state to create a whole brand around not having kids, seeking validation about it from strangers on the internet at 29 years old. Look guys, it's okay to be single, it's okay not to have kids at 30 years old, it's okay not to accomplish something that you didn't, but to try and get validation from strangers on the internet, try and feel good because someone is in the same situation, same boat. I don't know, I just find it weird in this generation.
This is not the first video that she's produced. So the reason why, and if you're a man watching this, don't marry this woman. She's basically telling you she's selfish. She's telling you she's a narcissist. Everything she says is about me, 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 me. Even if you're single, you don't have to make your whole day revolve around you. You don't have to. You can get up in the morning, you can go help others, you can do other things. You can say, now that I have free time as a single woman, I can go dedicate time to the church. I can sing. I can do this. I can help people find God. That particular woman that you just looked at is a selfish bitch, and men should not marry her. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, I wouldn't call this woman bitch, but I understand why Candace is so passionate about it and speaks about it with such force. She has a group of young girls in front of her who are fed this new age feminist BS every day. Slay, you are single, independent, selling pictures on OnlyFans, sleeping with whoever you want, doing whatever you want. You don't need to aspire to have a family or kids. You're enough. If every woman or every human on earth lived by that, society would collapse. It's okay to be single and 30, of course, as I said, but don't try to sell it to younger girls as a thing to aspire to, if you yourself are clearly not happy with where you are in life. Anyway, let's move to the next topic. The girls on the panel are so-called sex workers. A couple of them are actual legal prostitutes. The rest of them are OnlyFans content creators or webcam girls, dancers, and so on. Brian asked them if their work affects their romantic lives, and here is what they have to say.
I've got to be able to be myself and fully disclose, and I need that person to accept me for who I am. Bottom line.
I've had no issues being a legal prostitute just because I haven't been dating anybody within this time for that year.
Mm-hmm.
As for everything else, it's hard dating. I've ran into a lot of insecure men. Typically, those are the ones that can't handle me doing what I do for work.
Well, just a point of clarification. So you've run into a lot of insecure men, and are they insecure because they don't want to date you because you are currently active as a prostitute?
No, I'm saying I've never dated a guy while I was working at the brothels.
Mm-hmm.
At the Bunny Ranch or the Mustang Ranch, but I've been dating guys like between me doing camming and
Sure.
dancing, so that's what I'm talking about.
You mentioned insecure men. What specifically are they doing that makes them insecure? Is it because they're insecure about your work?
Yes, like I've had exes in the past that would cry about me going to work to dance at the strip club. I've had guys try to control like what I wear, say that I can't work at strip clubs or do OnlyFans or whatever.
Is it because they're insecure, or is that just them having boundaries?
I mean, you knew what I was doing before you met me, right? So all of them knew exactly what I was doing before they met me, which brings it to, yeah, if you have a problem with what I do before you meet me, maybe don't get involved with me.
Fair enough, but when you start developing feelings, real feelings for a person, you won't want to share that person with anybody. It's logical. It might seem like a cool, sexy adventure at first for a man, but when love comes to the picture, obviously boundaries and comfort zone changes. What's crazy is that those men are being called insecure, not the woman who needs to get naked in front of strangers to validate herself. And I know I'll have plenty of comments here trying to tell me not to judge, that people can do whatever they want, and so on. Yes, they can do whatever they want. But speaking about prostitution like it's a good thing for a woman to do, that's where I draw the line.
You knew what I was doing before you met me. If you don't like it, there's the door. Nobody's making you stay.
I think too, gentlemen love the idea of dating us, and then once we go to do it, then it's not really realistic.
Right. It's almost like fetishizing to
A fetish.
Like, you're right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's so hot. I have a girlfriend that does this, that, and the other. And then when they're really at home and I'm like on OnlyFans or on a call with a client or whatever, they're like, no, this is weird. This is weird. You know what I mean?
This is weird. It's weird. It's unimaginable that you are in a relationship with someone and that other person is selling their body to multiple other people a day. Actually, by doing it on the internet these days, we're talking about millions of other men.
I've never had an issue with it dating wise. No one has ever, because I'm very upfront too. You know, first date, if this is what I do, if you don't like it, this is how I make my money. Unless you're going to pay me the same amount of money I'm making, then I'm not going to stop supporting myself. But yeah, I never really ran into issues. But again, I don't do full pornographic content or anything like that. So it probably is a little bit different for somebody on OnlyFans that does do that type of content. But I personally have never ran into an issue. My boyfriend at first was, you know, I told him and he was like, okay, well, if I'm going to date you, I have to be okay with this. And that was that. And it's never been an issue.
Where are we in this world? Women speak so proudly about this. First of all, this girl said in the podcast that all she does on OnlyFans is she exposes her breasts. So she's topless and she considers it not pornographic. What happened to women? We used to aspire to be lawyers, doctors. We wanted to mean something more than our bodies in the society. We didn't only go backwards, we invented a new law for women. Generations before us fought so hard for us to not be objectified, to be taken seriously. It's insanely disappointing.
The truth is that if you are going to engage in sex work, you are going to probably make a lot of money, especially if you're young. You're on a very tight rope. As you get older, your value goes down, and men are going to want women that are younger and available to them. I'm talking about in terms of just making the person who will subscribe to your OnlyFans page. You know, obviously, women, you're declining as you age. As the truth is that high value men don't want to date women that are sex workers or even women that aren't sex workers and lean into the whole talking about how sexy and are freely available on the internet for other men to see. What we're talking about is biological proclivity. What men are doing when they first say, this sounds amazing, to date a stripper or to date a prostitute or to date a sex worker, is there's this instinct to have sex. It's going to be amazing when have sex all the time. But then when they realize that actually a form of wanting to be in a relationship is feeling that there's a mystery to a woman, that there's something that's yours, there's something that's sacred, there's something that's powerful and beautiful that just you share. And when they realize that they have to share that with other men, it completely diminishes the man. A recent cultural example of that, obviously, is what's happening with Nina Agdal. She's not a sex worker by any means. She just kind of said some sexy things on the internet about wanting and look at what...
Was not expecting that from Candace.
I'm quoting her directly, so this is purely academic. Purely academic, and look at what happened. You know, now Logan has become the laughing stock of other men as they piece together everything that she's ever said that's overtly sexual. And again, she's not a sex worker, but what happened is her value just completely plummeted because, this thing that men need to feel. And I don't want to say possession in a way that sounds bad, because it's not bad. It's actually really beautiful. And I'm lucky and fortunate that I get to experience that in my marriage, and it's something that women should strive to.
Facts. And the topic here is women. So yes, we are looking at it from this perspective. But really, a woman wouldn't want to share her man in that way as well. Woman wants the man to have eyes only for her. If he's on OnlyFans or Tinder actively pursuing his other desires, it's considered cheating. But when a woman exposes herself to the whole planet, it's liberation. Anyway, this woman claims to help couples by having sex with the husbands. She's saving marriages.
You help a lot of couples that come in. One right now is asking me to lend a hand, and he's more of a beta, and she'd like him to be more of an alpha, and she wants me to work with him on being more just outwardly in control and aggressive in the bedroom. Things like that. There's a lot of different psychological needs and reasons why people would want to come and work with professional sex worker.
It's hilarious. Professional sex worker who saves marriages, guys. If that's not insane, I don't know what is.
So you're not saving marriages, you're helping people to keep up a farce that they are in a marriage. Because at the very moment that you let someone else into your marriage, it's no longer a marriage.
No.
Yeah.
And
guys
these women,
women
have turned around and said, I will allow you to see a professional.
So they are not in a marriage. That's the point.
They're married.
As soon as you lend
some of
your
their
spouse
wives are
out,
like dying from cancer and this, that, and the other. And
if I'm dying from cancer and my
somebody
husband
sleeps
goes
with
to
somebody
sleep with
else,
somebody, I swear Pentagon.
I just would like to make the point that at the very moment that you loan your spouse out, especially if you're dying of cancer so that they can get off, you're no longer in a marriage. So it's just a farce. It's like it's like comical. You're pretending for people that you're in a marriage, that you're in a loving relationship. That's not what a marriage is. So to say that I help marriages, no, you help destroy marriages, and they can go out and say that we're still married because what we've done is we've essentially said, you take care of this aspect of the marriage. It's like saying, you raise the kids, you have sex with him. This isn't a marriage.
Yep, I agree 100% with her. There is a reason you are there with your partner making that vow. Not 3 people, not 6 people, 2 people, till sex worker do us part.
They should work on their marriage together. The union between a husband and a wife should work on their marriage together to fix it. You don't bring out an outside person to sleep with your husband or your wife.
But if she's saying, I'm not down for sex,
then she might be down for a divorce.
I want to outsource the sex.
What if she's going to die from cancer and she
One
wanted him and she allowed him to do that because he needed to get off some way or shape?
While she was dying of cancer, one of the last things on her mind was,
yeah, this was a real. I'm asking you.
And is that what he told you?
So
that his wife that's dying of cancer wanted him to come have sex with you?
Not with me. This is from what I've heard. Yes.
Somebody told you that there's that as a dying wish. My dying
so
wife
how would
said,
you
please
want
go
that?
have sex with a prostitute.
I saw it on TikTok.
I'm just going to call bullshit on that altogether.
No,
I just don't
because
think
it does
when you're
happen.
dying of
It
cancer,
happens.
going through leukemia.
People will literally bring their guys here.
Please bring them on the podcast.
We want to hear from the guy on the podcast. Look at the categories those girls think in. They see nothing wrong in this made up or maybe real scenario. A loving husband whose wife is about to pass away from a horrific disease claims her dying wish is for him to get off in a brothel. And those girls are defending it. The world is doomed.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Marriage is not just a contract. Like it wasn't just like the government came up with a contract for people to get married. The history of marriage, you can't separate that from the church. Problem is people are trying to make things cool and trying to update and make them modern. And now people are saying you can have a polygamous marriage and you can bring in other people on the outside of a marriage. What's the point of getting married? Literally, I'd like to ask the question, if you think that you can, if you want to marry somebody and then outsource the sex, outsource the responsibility, outsource what the labor of love is actually supposed to be about, why not just stay single?
Right? If it's a union of 2 people vowing to each other to be faithful, to take care of one another, there is no way that bringing a 3rd person would help that union. Unfortunately, people became degenerates. They have more perverse thoughts in our times and perverse fantasies. That's why sex outside of marriage or asking the partner to do despicable things are called now spicing things up or saving the marriage.
So you wouldn't do a threesome with your husband?
Absolutely not, because he's my husband.
Did you even have to ask that to get the
Well,
answer?
I mean, there's
Absolutely
married
not.
couples that want to have threesomes, and
you know
some
what
of
happens?
these ladies are
And
bi-curious.
you should jump into those Reddit threads, because every single time that marriage ends in divorce, there's so many Reddit threads
No,
about.
they don't.
And a lot of them
I have
actually do
regulars
really
of
well
over 5
too.
years.
You have Candace Owens in front of you. One of the biggest figures in media right now, respectable political commentator, a woman that represents brains and high value. And this is the question you decide to ask her?
If he comes to you and is like, hey, I really like getting, I want you to me, and you're like, ew, that's so disgusting. Like, I would never do that. You want me to eat your ass? I would never do that. Well then, okay, what are you gonna do? Divorce him? Or what are you gonna do? Realistically, I'm asking you I'm asking, hold on, I want to know. What are you going to do? That's your husband. He's like, hey, babe.
I think one of the things about marriage that's really beautiful is I know what my husband, before we got married, I think I know who he is.
But things change, and maybe he wants to start exploring.
He wants to start doing what?
So he wants to start exploring, and he's like, oh my gosh, maybe I do want you to like eat my and I kind of want you to me. Like I kind of want anal from you because you're my wife and you're so beautiful and hot and we're married and we have kids together and I'm feeling a little bit kinky and I with you, since we have this special marriage and bond, how would you feel if we could just try this out just this one time, babe, please?
I love how it's like romantic to her. She's trying to describe it as something romantic between husband and wife. like it's normal thing.
It would probably indicate to me that my husband was involved in some perverse world, whether it was through pornography, that something else was happening on the side, because these aren't normal things that people just think of when they wake up.
So
like,
what's your
hey,
next
I'd
move?
really like a strap-on dildo.
Okay, right.
Well,
so what's your next move?
What's the ultimatum? He's going to divorce me if I don't...
So what's your next move?
Crazy. I would think that individual would probably need therapy and not the kind that you give.
this is what they are discussing. This is what interests them. This is what they choose to bring to the table, all to defend and feel better about what they do for a living. I'm getting secondhand embarrassment, and they think it's like a gotcha moment. It's impossible.
Those pajamas are impossible.
Would you consider it to be gay for a man to date a trans woman?
Yes.
For a man today, no.
Would you categorize him as straight?
Probably, yeah.
I mean,
If you don't want to answer, that's
like,
fine.
it's
Go ahead.
just-
If you don't want to answer, that's fine. Go ahead.
I'm with Pixie. I don't think that makes them
Wouldn't-
gay at
wouldn't-
all.
SE?
I would prefer not to answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Question. Does your answer change based on the stage of transition? Like, what if this is before any transition has occurred at all, but the person has come to the realization that they are transgender?
Well, I would assume that you have some level of like homosexual inclination if you're a man attracted to a person who looks and represents as a man, you know? Like if you're saying pre-transition, I would say like if you're attracted to those components of that person.
But pre-transition, if you are transgender, are you a woman?
Pre-transition, you're a woman who hasn't transitioned yet, so you're presenting as a male.
They are all so scared to answer the question. They are all so scared to have an opinion. It's insane to me. You have to acknowledge the facts, the biology. If there is a man attracted to a man, most probably they're gay. Not that difficult.
What if there hasn't been any bottom surgery?
What do you mean?
Like there's still an appendage.
So you're saying they transitioned everything but their bottom.
Maybe they're in the process of transitioning. Let's say everything but the...
Okay, I feel like I'm kind of confused here, so I'll just leave it in these sentences.
Seems really technical.
Two people that have penises, I don't care how you feel on your inside, I don't care if you dress and you wear a dress or you wear a wig, if you come together and you have sex, you're gay. And I think that is homosexual, right? So I know that people are trying, it is convoluted. Well, what if you feel like a woman? It's very simple. If you are a man and you are having sex with a man, irrespective of how you feel or whether or not you've mutilated your body or you've chopped something off, it doesn't make you not a man. You're a man. And two men coming together to have sex with their appendages intact obviously is homosexual.
Candace is not stating anything groundbreaking here. You don't even have to be extra intelligent or educated to know the answer to this question. I agree with her, obviously, but like I said, you don't need to be Candace Owens to figure this one out. It's just logic. I encourage you to watch the whole thing. It's entertaining, it's cringe, it's unbelievable, all the things the internet loves. Here are some user comments. Candace was holding back. She could absolutely dismantle every single one of these women, but saved herself the headache for the most part. And someone answered, it would have come off as bullying. Like a pro boxer picking fights at the local pub. She did better by not being too aggressive. I think she might have gotten through to a few of them on a few issues. Another one, Candace Owens is such a powerhouse. She is so well spoken. She is someone I really look up to. The other women seem to be intimidated by her presence. Yep. And this one, Candace is what class looks like. She is naturally beautiful and doesn't need to have her breasts on display. Modest and classy and intelligent. Take notes on what it looks like to have self-respect. Well, after watching this podcast, I am terrified at where today's youth is heading. Young girls aspiring to make money by selling their bodies, whether it's on internet or in real life. This is the goal in today's society, to get rich with no skill, doing sex work. And yes, I know if there weren't so much demand, we wouldn't have so many women doing it.
That's what she said.
That just proves the larger point here, that the society as a whole is rotten, focused on the wrong things. And some might think Candace is too harsh when stating some of her opinions, but I prefer that than being accepting of everything and anything and everyone, letting young people's brains evaporate on websites like OnlyFans. But as usual, I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments. And if you'd like to see more of my content, you can just click on one of those videos right here. Subscribe to my channel, turn on the notifications to never miss another Daily Freddo episode. If you want even more content, follow me on Instagram @DailyFreddo. That's all for today. Have a good one.
People all over town are sitting on your face.
Well, dear, maybe someday if you work hard, people will be sitting on your face too.